tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika, chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.
Let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us make Africa the tree of life. This is Human CV Africa, and this is Katom Kasa, a Ghanaian lawyer interested in issues, human rights, issues, humanism, and of course, issues progress. Today in the studio is Brian Kabeko and of course Baya Hassan in Kenya producing this show, and we're going to be talking about culture, identity, and diversity in Africa. I want to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Humans TV Africa. Right there, look for us. Go into the YouTube archives and simply check out our videos. Remember to subscribe to Humans TV Africa, and of course our Facebook name is Humans TV Africa. But also send us an email. Send us an email at info@humanstvrafrica.com, or send us that WhatsApp message. There is the number. And of course, Brian, who is our communication officer, will be able to reply you and of course get along with you. We are going to be able to give you an interview. We shall be able to give you specified talk show. And of course, remember, we are a registered NGO. We don't charge anyone to appear on our set. We are registered and we're operating right now in several countries in Africa. We have studios in Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, and of course, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, United Kingdom, and of course, USA. We have studios that will continue growing every other day. We want you to be part of us, and please write to us. The email is right there. We are looking for volunteers, we're looking for panelists, we're looking for researchers, and of course, interviewers, people who can do work with us. We want to showcase Africa to the world. Today, the program is Culture, Identity, and Diversity, episode 2. What is culture? In episode 1, I told you culture are those social norms, customs, artifacts, behaviors, including religion or religious beliefs, are part of culture. Whatever the society believes in and binds it together collectively as a people is a culture. Cultures are historical. Cultures are diverse. Cultures keep on changing. Cultures are not static. Cultures are not static. Cultures keep on changing day by day, year by year. Cultures grow. So as we saw in episode 1, this is episode 2, culture. Culture is not static. Something that binds people together, customs, norms, artifacts, behaviors, religion, whatever people believe in, whatever people practice for a long time, and binds them together collectively as a society, as a community, as a country, as a continent, as a people. That is their culture. Therefore, culture defines identity. Culture defines identity. There are people who say have an identity crisis. I do mention Michael Jackson. People don't like that, but I do mention Michael Jackson as a person who had an identity crisis at one point. Some people have identity crisis. They don't know where to belong. They want to belong here, but actually they are belonging here. Now, identity comes from culture. Culture shapes our identity, but also we are diverse people in Africa, people from different areas, different backgrounds in Africa. You'll find Caucasians, you'll find the Arabs, you'll find dark people, you'll find chocolate brown people, you'll find black people. We are a mixed kind of people in Africa. It's the diversity that defines us, that makes us a better people. I'm going to call upon my producers to give us the photography for today as we talk about these issues of culture, identity, and diversity. We look at the map of Africa to tell you the history of Africa. We come from far. I told you that the name of Africa was actually a name given to us to define us. The civilizations in Africa are quite many. If you look at this map, it shows you that our civilization has been the Arabic civilization, the Tunisian civilization, the Bantu civilization, the Guinean civilization, the Habesha civilization, the Andes or Indus civilization, the Nilotic civilization, the Sudani Saharian civilization, and of course the Western Sahara civilization. Now, all these civilizations comes with a different culture. Please give me the photos very fast. I want to hit the time target of this brief show today. Now, these countries, as you can see on the screen right there, these countries will tell you which country colonized what country in Africa. Remember, we are colonized by 13 countries from Europe: French, Britain, Belgium, German, Portugal, and all these other countries, of course, Spain. These countries colonized Africa and they gave us their own culture. Now, look at this map. Thank you so much, the producers in Kenya doing this kind of show. The Arab culture, the Tubu, the Tuareg, the Fula, the Zande, the Kuba, the Tonga, the Ganda, the Shona. All these are cultures. The Swahili, the Somali, all these are different cultures. The rural people, all these are different cultures. The Hausa, the Fula, the Sara, all these are different cultures in Africa. And look at the artifacts that defines our culture. Look at the different artifacts in different parts of Africa and look at the uniformity of these artifacts. We are the people of the sun, people from Africa, people of the sun, and these artifacts define our culture. These are the flags that define Africa today. These flags give us our identity. We got our independence from the colonizers, and of course, we began getting flags. Now, these flags, look at this map and tell me where you can see your flag. That is your country. It is part of your identity. Remember, the share is culture, identity, and diversity. This is a map picked before 1920s as Africa was being defined by others. Remember, I told you that others defined Africa. The colonizers defined Africa. They gave us a name, they gave us a map, they gave us everything. Does that one mean it's our identity? I don't think so. We need to redefine Africa today. Look at the people in rural South Africa, the Eswatini people. Look at the way they dress, the way they identify themselves. That is part of their identity, and of course becomes the culture. The Dinka people, Toro people, very proud of their skin color, very proud of their regalia, and of course the Dinka wrestlers is part of their tradition, part of their customs. It forms their culture. The wrestling matches done in the Dinka community. The Samburu girl in Kenya, the way she dresses also defines her culture. The beads are part of African culture. The Swana people in Botswana, look at the way they dress. It defines the culture of the Swana people in Botswana, but also their identity as a people. Look at the Rim people of Southern Sudan. Look at that hat, well made. And by the way, women in Africa are also known for building these beautiful marble, very good hats in Africa. Now, these hats also defines us. Look at the Wolof people in Senegal, Gambia, and Mauritania. The Wolof people, the Wolof tribe, we can see it in 3 countries. Gambia, Senegal, and Mauritius, the old people. Look at the way they dress, and of course, look at the Gambia pottery, the way they make their pots. It's part of their tradition, it's part of their culture, it's part of the patterns that depicts the culture from these people. Look what the Sudanese in the north, or the main Sudan, which is more Arabic. And look at the skin texture of these people. Look at the way they dress. Arabic culture is part of African culture. Look at the French people in Nigeria, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, the way they do their work is part of the identity, but also part of their culture right there. Look what the traditional dances in South Africa. Of course, I love South African music. The way they dance, the way they dress, the way they expose some of their body parts in a very enticing, eye-captivating way. The moves they make. Look at the culture of kneeling down before a man in Africa. Is it a good culture? I don't know. But actually, many women still do that in Africa. It's part of the culture right there. Look at this beautiful Fulani girl right here. Somewhere in Nigeria, there it's part of their culture identity, the way they dress. The Zambian woman right there, black, and of course, beautiful in her kanga, in her lesu, the way they wrap themselves. Look at the food basket, the way they make food baskets in much of Africa, the way they preserve food in much of Africa is more of our identity as the people of Africa. But also look at albinos. Africans are able to produce albinos, so lack of melanin. So you will find a near Caucasian being produced by an African woman. And of course, you know that all humanity comes from a black woman, of course, as you can see. That Sudanese woman right there is part of our identity. And you look at the Nigerian woman and the way she carries herself, she carries her pot, and all that kind of thing is part of our identity, our culture, our definition. This is what defines people in Africa. Look at the setting, a village setting among the Kushites in northern Kenya. That's called Moro, northern Kenya. The way they build their huts is part of the identity. You look at a random woman, and then you know that, okay, when these women are defined in this way, it's also part of their identity. The way they look, the way they carry themselves. And look at these Sudanese. There's a tribe right there in Sudan which believes in fattening men. That fattening men is part of being proud. It's part of being it's an achievement. They go and fatten men somewhere in northern Sudan. Is that a good culture practice? I don't know. But this is a Gambian lady, of course, a warrior, showcasing her regalias, showcasing her attire as an African woman warrior. Did you know that actually women in Africa were fighters? Yes, they were. Some women in Africa led men into battles. Now, these are the people showcasing their cultures right there in the north of Africa. And of course, these are Ugandan Bantu, the Ugandan Bantu men and how they dressed, showcasing their kind of bodies, the wrapper they used to put on themselves, defining the Ganda people or the Bantu peoples in Uganda. And of course, part of their culture traditions, the way people carry themselves, the way they raise families, right there, that is Kansime there from Uganda, and the Habi. We show you how these guys define themselves. Culture defines us. Culture makes us who we are. We are different, but the same. Brown, chocolate brown, dark. Of course, Mulattoes, Caucasians, Arabs, all of us are part of the African continent. It defines us to be people who we are. I am who I am. I'm elegant, I'm radiant, I'm independent, I'm grounded, I'm captivating. This all defines our identity as a people in Africa. When you look at that summary right there, the happiness of our people, the collective effort to make people happy, even when they have little in their pockets, that happiness defines a people in Africa. The sun will always be the cure. The people of the sun, as our national theme song says, we are the people of the sun. And this defines us. This defines people in Africa. And of course, we are a people of diversity. You'll find Caucasians among us, you'll find Arabs among us, you'll find chocolate brown people among us, dark people, and of course, pitch dark people among us. We are all Africans. We are all Africans. Look at that humble village in Zimbabwe, somewhere in Zimbabwe. Very, very humble setting. But of course, we're going to see some of these humble, well-designed buildings, setting villages in Rwanda, villages in Senegal and other countries. And of course, this is the traditional dress code of the people in Ghana. I love Ghana. I was in Ghana. Ghana is a very beautiful country. Good people. They love their traditional dressing. They love that traditional dressing, and they are proud of their culture. People in Ghana, those are people in Ghana, they love their culture. And of course, the Akan culture in Ghana, they use that kind of drum, a very big, heavy drum that is used to rally people together to come and watch games, to come and interact with their cultural leaders. They use that kind of drum. They are calling people. It's culture, it's culture, it's culture. Please move on as we see more. I told you that in Africa, or not in Africa, a black person can actually give you a mulatto. A black person can actually give you an albino or a Caucasian. A black man and a woman can actually give you a baby that is having a different skin tone, because black person has that ability to give you the Eve gene, to give you a person of a different skin color, which is a bit hard to understand by a layman, but scientifically very possible. Look at this Dinka, the way they, that is part of their identity. The Sudanese, the culture of tattooing. These tribes tattoo their bodies as part of their culture identity. Remember, we're talking about culture, identity, and diversity in Africa. This is the show. I put all this in my book, Mama Africa Tell Your Story. Look for the book on Amazon. The book is Mama Africa Tell Your Story. Look out for this book on Amazon. You'll be able to see much about the diversity in Africa, but also the unity that defines us to be who we are as a people from Africa. That is it. Quite a very interesting show. Culture, identity, and diversity. Episode 2, talking about Africa. And we shall continue to talk about Africa and showcase to you what it means to be African and why we should be proud of our culture, identity, and diversity. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get these and more of our episodes. Our channel is Humanist TV Africa. Please subscribe. Please subscribe, share, like, follow, and of course tell everyone about Humanist TV Africa. And please come for all these opportunities, for all these interviews, which will give you space to showcase your talent, to showcase what is happening in your country. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much, Brian and Hassan Baya in Kenya for production. And of course, thank you so much, team from TV Africa. See you in the next one.
Tushereke pamoja ushindi kwa ukombozi wetu, tujitoe wenyewe, tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote, tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika. Chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.